Gentleman with me, and as a matter of fact, he was polite enough because, let me start out with, he has a very funny sense of humor, because even he said, is he going to let us go, or should I just sit here and like, take a seat, because this could be a while. So, so the first thing is that you have, at first when I initially drew him, I thought he was maybe a teenager, but I actually think he might look younger than he actually is, maybe somewhere in his 20s. I just think that it's like a younger gentleman. Can you play somebody like that who's passed over? And sometimes when I draw, I can't directly go to somebody, so I'm going to put that out to everyone. Can someone take a younger gentleman in the spirit world who might have looked a little bit younger, probably in their 20s? So you can, okay, because I was drawn to you. I'm going to just put this down. So his sense of humor came through literally because at one point when I finally said to him, all right, you need to kind of come a little bit closer to me so I can now start to really connect with you. He actually sat down over here. So ironically, the thing about him is that I think on some level he actually had a bit of patience because he did actually sit down. But he did really joke and say, is he going to let us go? So he definitely had a very funny sense of humor. When I went to draw him and I did his hair, I don't think I quite got it right. Because he did say my hair wasn't quite like that, and I think there was something about his hair that was somewhat important, and so that also to me made me think he might have been one of those kids who took care of the way he looked, right? So that was, his appearance was important to him. He actually showed me his t-shirt, which was kind of funny, but I think it was what he showed me was a very white t-shirt, and for that actually two things that means to me. One, there's a purity about him. There's a really good heart and soul in this gentleman. And the other thing was, again, I go back to, he actually cared about how he looked. I'm not getting a wider figure on him. I'm actually getting a kind of slender kind of build on him. And I'm pacing a little bit, and two things with that. One is I think that you're in the middle of something that you're debating about, and you're kind of, okay, yeah, okay, no. But I also think there was something about his walk. There was something about his walk that was kind of a little bit of his own, and I'm not saying that it was a cocky walk or anything like that. I just think it was one of those kind of, ironically, at times he put to the world that he was very sure of himself. But I think there were some insecurities that sat within him. He gave me two colors. One is red and one is purple. So when I work off colors, there are two things. One, red for me is actually about a survival color, and that's more about your base chakra. So when I say that out, you kind of trying to just make a decision about something, and you're kind of making your mind up about it. What normally happens for me with that is what you probably need to do right now is just get grounded. Okay, so just take a little bit more time to spend alone and kind of root yourself in, if that makes sense. Do you understand what I'm saying with that? Also, I'm starting to get scratchy in the throat, which means there's something you need to be talking about with somebody. So communication will probably help this situation and a decision to come to what it is. I don't care what it is. I never ask what it is. I don't want to know. So, but whatever it is, it looks like there might be something that you want to communicate. The other color that I got was actually purple. So it doesn't surprise me after everything he's just said about you. Usually, like attracts like. So whether you have fully stepped into doing this or it's just in supporting with her, be forewarned that the more you hang out with crazy people like this one, the more you yourself will then step into this lovely world. And
you saying that lady's crazy?
I'm saying you're crazy.
She looks quite nice to me from here, I'll tell you.
And it is a beautiful place to be, and I think what's going to happen is your spirituality is going to unfold. Whatever form that takes in, and whether it is literally just fully supporting her or coming to the church, but I think that there are going to be times where you don't be surprised when all of a sudden you go, "What'd you say, honey?" She said nothing. It was actually them telling you something, and you're probably going to start to hear things, because that's what they're saying to me is, also because what was happening was my ears, they started playing with my ear. So I initially said, okay, well, start talking to me if you want me to communicate more, but I think it's more about you are going to probably start to hear more. So honestly, don't be surprised when you think someone's called And it's actually them who are starting to talk to you. I always say when someone starts to hear something funny in their ear, to go get it checked by the doctor first, and when they tell you there's nothing wrong with your ear, you know that's them tuning you in to start listening for them and what they're trying to say to you. I'm asking him for a day, and I'm getting the month of September, if that's a significant month. But I really would like a date with that. And I want to say the 15th. Now that's not because he always says I say the 15th because it's the middle of the month, and that's easy because that way you can take it either way. But I really think there's something very significant somewhere within the
17th or 9th.
Okay, yeah, okay, so that's close enough. I just didn't want it to be the 21st. So, this gentleman, I think, will also be someone who helps guide you. Okay, so there must have been a relationship with him that you would have trusted some of the stuff that he kind of wrote. I think it has more to do with that purity that I saw earlier with his white t-shirt. So I think it's one of those things where you just need to take what you hear and what you feel.